Hey YouTube, Leaman Griffin here. I've got another great tutorial video for you guys. We're going to be working today with Adobe Photoshop. We're going to be talking about cropping and layers. I'm sure if you've clicked on this video or searched it, you are familiar with Adobe Photoshop. It's a great photo editing program. A lot of people use it, all the way from beginners to professionals. So we'll start off. I've got an image here that I'm going to be working with. And if you notice, the image looks a little distorted, and that's because it's such a large file. And right now we're viewing it at, I think it's 16.7%. So if you zoom in, you notice the further you get in, the better the image looks because it's more to its original size. But just to show you for the video today, we're going to go fit to screen, just so you can see the entire image. Now, before we begin, let's talk a little bit about cropping. Cropping is actually removing parts of the photograph that you want to keep or that you want to delete. So you're taking the photograph and you're taking specific elements out of it, or grabbing specific elements so that you can copy them, duplicate them, whatever you want to do with them, but it's grabbing a certain element of the photograph. So we'll start off over here on the tool palette, and there's various ways to crop an image. The first one is probably the easiest. You'll grab your Marquee Tool here. And if you hold your mouse down, you can elliptical, single row, single column, or rectangular. Rectangular is pretty popular, and what you'll do is you'll click and drag, and you can select a certain part of the image, and you'll want to make sure that you actually have the correct layer selected that the image that you want to grab is on. And once you do that, you can go Edit, Copy, and now Edit, Paste. And it will paste. Now we'll select it here with the selector tool, and you can see I've made a duplicate of the exact same image. So that's the easiest way to crop. We'll go ahead and undo that, and let's delete this layer. Yes, we want to delete it. So that's the first way. The second way is with a tool called the Lasso, and that's right below the Marquee Tool over here on the toolbar. And the Lasso tool, there's three different kinds. There's the magnetic, polygonal, whatever that word is. There's the magnetic, that one, and the regular lasso tool. The regular lasso tool, you actually have to hold it down, and while you're holding it down, you just draw the line that you want. And now this one is really good for odd shapes, but you really have to have a steady hand. It's probably best used if you have a I forget what they're called. It's like a tablet. It's a pad with a pen that you can draw, and it transfers to the computer. So select that, and the same thing, you'll copy and you'll paste. I don't really like this tool. I don't use it very often because of the fact that I don't get good crisp lines. I have to go in after I copy it and really correct the edges. So we'll right click and we'll deselect that. Let's go do my favorite here. And with this one, what you'll do is you will, and we can zoom in here to show you a little bit better how precise it can get. Let's say I want to grab just the rim out of this photo. So we'll click this, and this one you can actually click and drag. You let go of the mouse every time you click, and you can, so I'm not holding the mouse right now. I can drag it to wherever I want, and I'll click on the next point, and you can use that to work your way around. I'll do it kind of quickly here. Work your way around the wheel and grab whatever shape you want. Let's see here. Let's get around it. Got to be kind of tighter in the corners to make sure that it gets the right shape. There we go. One more. And when you get to the end, it'll show you a circle saying, do you want to connect it? And you'll just click anywhere. As long as that circle is highlighted, it'll connect the dots. So now that that's done, we can copy it, paste it, scale it, make it bigger, make it smaller, do whatever we want to do to it. So that's my favorite method of cropping, just because I can kind of define my own shape. And the third one is actually magnetic. And this one you'll click once, and what it does is it takes contrasting colors and it determines lines based off of them. So let's say I want to grab, let's do something like this headlight right here. So I'll do this, and I'll click the first point, and then I'll just start dragging, and it will actually make points. I'm not clicking the mouse at all, it's doing that. Now I can click and make my own points, but it will do it for you. And you can see as I round the corner here, see how it hugs the corner? Okay, there you go. There's a perfect example of why I don't use it. It kind of determines its own lines, so depending on how quick you move it and what the color difference is, if there's not a large color difference, sometimes it'll cut a corner, and then there you go, you can connect it. So that does a pretty good job, but it really works best when there's a lot of contrast. So like right here, you can see the red versus the black. There's a good bit of contrast. So let's deselect that and let's try this. We'll start right here, and we're just gonna hug this line. You can see I can move really fast and it'll hug that line very well, and that's because there's a lot of contrast there between the red and black. So that's how you do the magnetic lasso. And the other type of cropping is the wand tool. And this tool, you actually click and it will grab an area that is shaded in the same color palette. So on a photograph, it's kind of hard to do because there's so many different shades and gradients and whatnot in the picture that you're never going to get a crisp grab unless it's on a solid color. So let's say for some reason there was, let's grab my brush here and let's just make a big area, right? Just a big area. Now I want to select that and crop it out. So what I'll do is I'll grab my wand tool and I'll just click anywhere inside this area and it will select it just like that. So that's a good way to crop out when you have solid colors that you're dealing with. And we can hit delete and we can delete it. And we didn't want to turn it white, so we're gonna step backward here. And we'll step backward one more time and remove it. But anyway, so that right there is how you crop in Photoshop. It's a great tool for doing layers and making things look three-dimensional. You can stand them off of the background. You can do a lot of cool stuff. A lot of people use it to like lower vehicles. They'll take and they'll crop around the truck, and then they'll drag it down to make it lower on the wheels to give it the effect that it's been lowered. That's good for, you know, testing out what it's going to look like before you spend money on it. But a lot of people use cropping in a lot of different ways, and this is just a basic way to show you how Photoshop crops images, and it's rather easy once you get to know it. But that should be it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned. I got more videos coming on Photoshop. We're going to dig into a bunch of stuff. The next one will probably be layer styles, such as like drop shadows, things like that. So we'll go into that a little more deep. But you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I got more coming.